Salam alaikum. It's indeed an honor and a pleasure to be with you all this afternoon on my very first trip to Saudi Arabia. And I've just enjoyed the wonderful hospitality, the wonderful food here. And I have to say, I come from India, and after Indian food, my next favorite food is really Middle Eastern cuisine, and I actually have to make it at home. I make fool, just like you folks have food for breakfast, I have food for breakfast too. And the Saudi coffee, kahwa, has been keeping me awake here, dealing with my jet lag. But what I'll do in my time with you all today is to talk about your vision 2030 and how technology can be a great enabler for realizing that bold vision, and how we at Nutanix, the company that I represent, can help you along on that journey. So without much further ado, let's get into it. So Vision 2030 is a bold vision. It's an inspirational vision. And what I like about it is it's all about technology for humanity. I've been a technologist for 35 years, and I've always believed that technology is for the greater good. Tech enables a better life for all of us. It helps create a more sustainable universe. And for me as a technologist, and for us at Nutanix here, we are committed to enabling you to transform yourself, enabling to make the world more sustainable with the technology that we bring to the table. As we look at Vision 2030, it's got three major components. The first component is about an ambitious nation, which is enabled by a transparent government. I love the fact that many of the ministries here had their own digital apps through which citizens can interact with the ministry and get the services they need in a fast, effective, and transparent manner. The second element of Vision 2030 is about building a diversified economy away from oil and gas. This, in turn, will create many, many jobs in the country, and it's going to be all enabled by a world-class education system that brings out the best talent in the world to be able to go work in all these jobs. The last piece, very important component, is about building a vibrant society, enabling healthcare and creating healthy lifestyles for every citizen, and also creating world's best cities. Three of the top world's best cities, three of the top 100 based in Saudi Arabia by 2030. And I've talked to some of them. I've talked to Nome, for example, and it's just amazing, the ambition and the boldness of this vision. Now, great visions like this take great transformations. And in our lives, we've all seen some major transformations. Take, for example, the retail industry. It wasn't that long ago where you or I, we would go to a store to go buy an item. We didn't know if the item was going to be in stock or not. We would go look it up, search through the store, go to the shelves, try to find it, didn't know what it was going to cost, and it would take us a long time to go get what we wanted. And today, of course, what Amazon has done to e-commerce, and many others have followed, is we take it for granted that we can just sit at our homes, on our mobile phones, or on our desktops or computers, and just click a button and stuff gets delivered home. In fact, I was talking to a startup in India that claims to be able to deliver stuff to your home within 10 minutes after you place the order. 10 minutes. Phenomenal. But it's not just retail. Transportation has been transformed. There was a time, again, not so long ago, we would have to go out there, wait for a cab, try to find a cab, try to hail a cab on a busy road, busy day, didn't know what it was going to cost, didn't know if the driver was actually going to take you to where you wanted to go. And Kareem and others in ride-sharing have pioneered this whole concept of ride-sharing, and you're now able to go get you're using your app to go get a cab, and you know what it's going to cost, you know that it's going to be clean, you know it's going to get you to the destination, you know exactly when you're going to arrive at your destination. And at the same time, it's also helped create a much more sustainable world where you need fewer cars. Cars that are out there can be used more efficiently. In fact, when we have a car and we own a car, it's sitting there idle 90% of the time. Whereas here, with Careem and Uber, you're now able to use the car to the maximum extent. You look at entertainment. When I started out as a technologist 35 years ago, we were all dreaming and imagining a world where video on demand would be possible. And guess what? Today, we take it for granted. Netflix and others have pioneered live streaming where all of us can sit and watch what we want, when we want, where we want. There's one thing in common to all of these major transformations, and that is that technology is the foundation. It's the underpinning of all this progress. And technology has enabled all of these. Now, technology is great, but it's often very, very, very complex. Now, after all, this is an IT conference, and all of us are in IT. And if you look at the world of IT and what you have to deal with today, it is super complicated. You have to deal with putting together solutions from a bunch of vendors for your infrastructure, for your data centers, for your public clouds, deal with complex issues in security, in policy, in governance, sovereignty of data, and you have to deal with multiple solutions for multiple locations. And guess what? Where is all the talent to go manage this? In fact, if you think about software industry and IT overall, the biggest challenge we all have is talent. And the people coming out of college today expect a consumer-like experience from IT, not the arcane, command line stuff that people, in the past were used to here in terms of how they dealt with their IT. So let's dive into that piece a little bit more. At the heart of digital transformation at any company or government is the apps and the data. Apps generate and consume a lot of data, and they run everywhere. They run in your data centers. They run in the public cloud. And they run at the edges. In fact, IDC says that by 2026, over half of all data is going to be generated at the edge. And every one of these environments is bespoke. You have different solutions, you have different vendors, you have different tools, and you need different processes to manage every one of these locations. No wonder Gartner says that the vast majority of all workloads or applications are not going to be placed correctly. You're not going to get the best performance from these applications. You're not going to get the best cost in terms of running these applications. This is a landscape that all of us here are faced with. But we should be able to do better. Now, everybody here, you all have your own specific set of challenges. But what's common is that we all live in this hybrid multi-cloud world where your applications and your data are everywhere. As I said, edge, data center, public cloud. Now imagine if you had a single platform, one platform to manage data and run your applications in any of these locations. That would be cool. And that is, again, what we all aspire to. Now, my experience, by the way, is as I've talked to customers around the world in all my travels, what I see is many of you are focused on trying to do one of these initiatives inside your company or your organization. You're looking to modernize your on-prem data center, moving away from legacy architectures to building a cloud-like environment where everything is available to you as needed in an agile, in an automated, self-governed way. Others that I've talked to are looking to extend their operations into the public cloud and figure out how to add public clouds to their already modern on-prem infrastructure. And there's a third category of organizations that have decided that they want to be all in a public cloud and cloud first. In fact, this often you could be in the same company, you could have different groups trying to be in different phases of this. Now, we at Nutanix provide this single platform that enables customers to run their applications and workloads everywhere. Let me give you some examples of what people do with technology. So on the first one, in terms of modernizing your on-prem infrastructure, we worked with a large European central bank for many years. When they started out with us, they had a 3-tier infrastructure, separate compute teams, network, storage teams. They had a team of about 20 people managing a relatively small infrastructure. They then started using us, and they've scaled with us over the years, and today they have an estate that's much, much larger, running on a footprint that is way smaller, much lower total cost of ownership. And guess what? They manage this entire environment with a team of 4 people who are relatively young IT professionals out of college, who are generalists, who don't understand the specific bits and bytes of storage, compute, and networking. That's the power of simplicity. Another large American federal agency wanted to be able to spin up capacity very quickly because they had seasonal demand. And normally with their legacy infrastructure, it would take them a long time, 6 months if they wanted to provision new capacity. What they did with us was modernize their infrastructure, and they were able to do this on-prem, of course, in a much faster way. But more importantly, for this seasonal demand, they were able to burst into the public cloud using the same exact platform and be able to do that and get additional capacity in an hour and free it up again when they didn't need it. A large Asian video gaming leader decided they wanted to be all in the public cloud. And what they realized is that it wasn't that easy to take their existing applications from their data centers and take it into the public cloud. What we were able to do for them was to lift and shift their apps from their data center, take it to the public cloud, and do that within a matter of weeks, saving them a ton of money in terms of not having to refactor their applications and just go take existing applications and run them super well in the public cloud. So the learnings from all of this is that you need to get to a point where instead of your environment managing you, you manage your environment. Cloud on your terms. Now, I'll give you an example of why simplicity matters a lot here. I recently got a new phone, and all of us do that regularly. Every few years we buy a new phone, and I got a new phone as well. And of course, the first thing you need to do is to take all the stuff from your old phone and move it to your new phone. And in my case, all I had to do with this new phone was to power it on and keep it right next to the old phone, and it automatically prompted me, do you want to move your data and apps from the old phone? And I said yes, and within an hour, it was done. That's the power of simplicity. Now, you need the same simplicity in your IT environment. And that's what's going to define more than anything else how efficiently and how quickly you are going to be able to adopt cloud and transform yourselves in the enterprise. And that leads to our vision as Nutanix. We want to make hybrid multi-cloud simple so that you can free up. You don't have to worry about this underlying infrastructure and all the complexity of managing across multiple clouds, but you focus on achieving your business outcomes. Now, there's 4 principles here. The first, of course, is a single platform that allows you to manage all your data, run all your applications across all of these locations. That means you don't need to retrain people. You have one platform, one set of tools, one set of processes to run across all these environments. The other important thing that we just talked about is simplicity. Now, how many of you have struggled with just doing a simple software upgrade on your infrastructure? Doing a software upgrade for an app on your phone is trivial, right? Push a button, it downloads, you get a new version. I've seen people in infrastructure take over a year to upgrade their software. And by the way, during that whole year, you may not be compliant with the latest security patches, you may be putting your enterprise at risk, and you're spending countless hours with IT staff trying to do a mundane job of upgrading a software. All of that stuff can be simplified dramatically. Right? Our belief is what we enable with our platform is one-click upgrade. Second element is freedom of choice. Freedom and flexibility at every layer in the stack. Choice of hardware, choice of hypervisor, choice of public cloud, AWS, Azure, you name it, choice of cloud-native stack, and a completely portable licensing model where you can take a license on any terms, on any duration, take it wherever you want with you. But the last piece, and perhaps the most important, is our job only starts when we sell you software. Now that company, that iPhone example I was talking about is, of course, Apple. And Apple is one of the most loved companies in the world, and they have a net promoter score, which is what their customers rate Apple for their customer experience, of 72. One of the best in the industry, 72. The average net promoter score across the industry is 54. At Nutanix, we are proud of the net promoter score that we've achieved over the past 7 years of 90, something that's really unheard of in the industry, and it's a testimonial to how we care about you and making sure you get the outcomes you want and you're delighted with the experience of working with us. So in Saudi Arabia, we've been here since 2016, enabling you all to transform yourself. We have over 250 customers here in KSA. A third of all ministries run on Nutanix. 5 of the top 10 banks use Nutanix. And over 50%, over half of all public universities in the country use Nutanix. We are helping you bring tech for humanity to the kingdom. Now, just a few examples here in terms of our very large local customers. Ministry of Education was one of our early adopters. They serve over 22,000 schools in the country, and they modernized their infrastructure with Nutanix to enable providing a better experience for all the students at all the schools in terms of enabling distance learning, for example. What they were able to do with our technology was to get a lot more simpler. Yeah, it became simpler, it became more flexible, it became more scalable and more agile, and provided a better experience to their students. And as you can see with some of the metrics there, they were able to spend a lot less time on management, 50% less time on management, 60% less time on provisioning, and significant improvements in app performance, at the same time reducing their total cost of ownership. Another example in the private sector is Saudi German Health, one of the largest private hospital systems across the Middle East. They have 11 hospitals across the region. They serve over 2.5 million patients every day. And out here, technology is critical for saving patient lives. They want to make sure that they enable their care providers, their doctors, to have the latest patient information at their fingertips. They want to enable new services like telemedicine. They want to enable their radiologists to do remote diagnosis of X-rays and images. And all of this required a modern technology platform. And they, again, using Nutanix, they were able to go reduce their management time, spend a lot less on hardware, reduce backup times dramatically, and overall provide a much better experience to their care providers, which in turn helps save lives and helps make a big difference to the patients that they take care of. Now, as we look at all of this, Vision 2030 is a bold vision. It's about technology for humanity. But more importantly, Vision 2030 can only be achieved through technology. And that's why we're all here at Leap. Technology should be simple. It should free you up so that you can go focus on driving the big transformations that you're driving as a country. And we at Nutanix are thrilled to be with you on that journey and to help you drive that transformation. Thank you all. We look forward to working with you. Thank you.